Pablo Zano, CEO of F&P Group, and I'm constantly fascinated by the ways people create value and lasting enterprises. We explore the journeys, the decisions, and the driving forces behind successful businesses with multiple locations. Welcome to Live Currency. We are here with William Steele. I just told him I can't believe I don't know him. He's from the Valley, the Rio Grande Valley. How many years have you been in the Valley now?
A little over 6 years now.
Oh, man, that's embarrassing. And he's in the restaurant business, and I don't know him. But I'm glad to meet William. William's already told me some stuff off camera. I'm really excited for him to share about his restaurant, some of his experience here at TRA, but also about Supply Pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's start with Supply Pay because it seems like there's a little bit to unfold there. So what is Supply Pay?
So we started Supply Pay a little over 18 months ago, mostly to solve the pain point of unstable cash flow conversion cycles and cross-border trade. So in McAllen specifically, we're the number one port of entry for fresh produce in the United States. Most of the fresh produce that's imported to America comes through the McAllen, specifically the Far Reynosa Bridge.
Yeah.
And what we found through experience in working with distributors in the restaurant industry, also my business partner comes from being the head accountant of a large exporting co-op in Guanajuato, and then later was selected to be a CFO of an importing company based in McAllen. It was really hard for them to get cash flow on these transactions. Pretty much it just means the producers would have to wait a really long time to get paid the cash on the goods they were delivering.
Okay, so heard on that. I'm glad you said basically, right? Or I don't know what the word you use, but let's start. You described it rather specifically. So it's what? It's the cash flow?
It's long or unstable cash flow conversion cycles.
Got it. Long or unstable. Okay, so you're basically turnaround on cash.
Exactly. Yeah, when you have an invoice and somebody owes you in net 30, net 45 days, sometimes you can't wait that long. You have payroll you have to meet, you have bills you have to pay. Mm-hmm. So what you can do is log onto our platform, and within a few clicks, you can apply for and receive financing, and we can automatically deposit that to your accounts. And we purchase that invoice from you at a small discount.
And you're doing that in multiple industries, or just that industry that you talked about with produce?
We're primarily focused on perishable goods supply chains.
Okay.
So anything that you eat or is time sensitive, that's our main focus. But this is what we started off doing. Last year, we financed $2.5 million in trade with $0 in losses on the platform. That was our first version. We recently launched our latest version, where we not only provide the financing, but as well the order orchestration. So we bring together the buyer, the seller, the carrier, and the customs brokers from both countries into one place. They communicate all of their data, documents, and information in a really streamlined and efficient manner. We do have some cool AI workflows. I know everyone uses that term, but it's really simple. You can drag and drop a purchase order in, and our system automatically creates all of the different components of that order on our platform. And you're able to see in real time through our WhatsApp bot the location of the truck driver, where the goods are, if they've made it through and crossed the Far Reynosa Bridge as an example. And then, of course, when it gets to the destination, we can provide financing on that order. So it's kind of an all-in-one system for everyone in cross-border trade to help streamline and orchestrate their orders as well as provide financing.
Fascinating stuff. So I'm going to butcher this, but so people understand, but the South Texas, really the Rio Grande Valley, there is a tremendous amount of trade. At one point, I think it was the leading port for trade, right?
Correct.
For produce trade.
Laredo is number one now, but for produce trade, McAllen is still number one.
Exactly. So I wanted to make sure that people understand that and why there's a big need in South Texas. Also, I think it promotes good business and it holds, I think personally, you know better than me, but it holds each other accountable, across the borders.
Correct.
And so I think that that's really important as well. But we're also, I think, very grateful for those relationships because that's how we get a lot of our high quality produce here in the restaurant industry specifically, right?
Oh yeah.
And so we know when there's economic impacts across the border, then we get impacted here in the restaurant industry. And some people know and some people don't. But all of a sudden, okay, your avocados are twice the price.
Yes.
So I was very interesting.
Recently at GR Fresh in McAllen, they're a big importing company based there. And they were holding a state congressman and representative were holding a press conference to ask the executive branch of the government, hey, I know that the Tomato Suspension Agreement Act is due for a potential repeal, and they were asking for a 90-day extension. Unfortunately, we did not get that extension, but it increases the duties on tomatoes 17%. So the tariff went up hence why you might see a little bit of shock and stimulation to the tomato supply chain. So keep an eye out, see how much your Roma, cherry, grape tomatoes cost.
So, good thing I had enough caffeine today because I am trying to focus very carefully on every word William says because he's obviously a very smart guy. So, wait, what gives though? You look like you're 24 years old. Why did I say that as a compliment?
Thank you.
It's
all the delicious pho my wife and my suegra cook.
Yeah, okay. You're not in your 20s, right? Or are you
28.
28, yeah, good for you. I figured you were young, man. So how did you get into supply pay and why?
It actually starts at the restaurant. So I'll give a little bit of background there. My wife and my mother-in-law during COVID had a crazy, audacious idea that they were going to start selling pho from home. And that eventually, one thing led to another. People love the food so much. My suegra's cooking is like, I say it's the best in the state because they were given the Texas State Business Award for the restaurant.
Oh,
the
nice.
governor's wife came down to South Padre and awarded it to them. So I say it's the best pho in the state of Texas. That's a big claim because in Houston, there's a lot of Vietnamese delicious restaurants. But it is number one. If you haven't tried it, we're in Weslaco. Would love for people to come out. It's a great community gathering
sold.
place.
I'll be there. I'll be the judge.
Yes, please. I would love to host you. We'll serve.
So actually, fun fact, it's again, that's why I started. I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I don't know William, but his restaurant is right across my restaurant, and I've never been there. So in Weslaco, right, you're off of... you're in front of us. No, you're west side of the Schlotzsky's in Weslaco, right?
Yeah. We know the Schlotzsky's. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the brothers that started that restaurant, I believe, I think his name is David.
Oh my! You talking about Lozano? David Lozano?
Yes.
Yeah, it's my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah.
So David and my wife go way back from high school. Pam went to Weslaco High. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and then David bought a couch from us one time.
What? All right, we got couches, we got supply pain, and we got pho. All in the same conversation.
You know, this good Facebook Marketplace deal.
Yeah. This is why we do this, William. This is why, because I mean we're at TRA, we're on a pod. But it opens those doors, and there's no reason why I shouldn't know you. There's no reason why we shouldn't know about supply pay and about your restaurant, which I do know. I just haven't frequented it. But wow, small world, man. So shout out to my brother-in-law. Yeah, man, David Lozano. So him and my sister, nothing funny here, but him and my sister have the same last name. So so it's very common, but it's not common with a name like Lozano. So that's why he's David Lozano. My sister's Lenza Lozano. But yeah, man, they're my partners in Schlotzsky's.
Yeah, and we go there all the time. We get the avocado.
My God.
We get the avocado flatbread, chicken flatbread, and I love the habanero sauce. Was it Firebird?
Yeah. The orange hot sauce.
Yes,
habanero,
dude, it's so spicy. Like when our restaurant is getting ready to close, I'll look at my wife and she'll be like, "You want to go Schlotzsky's?" And that's like our go-to. We'll drive over because we're exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, if it's been a full day at the restaurant and we're there together. I'm not there as much these days. It's mostly her show. You know, she is the star of the show. She's always been the star of the show. But when we're tired, we go to Schlotzsky's. Sometimes I'll also order the chicken melt.
Okay.
The Fiesta chicken.
Yeah, Fiesta chicken.
Yeah, I'll get that medium. I love salt and vinegar chips. I'll get that, dip it in habanero sauce.
I thought you were talking about a smoked cheesy, but they replace it with chicken. So we get that sometimes too. And I actually like the Fiesta chicken the most, and then I sub beef for it.
Yeah. I got to try that.
Yeah, you have to try it. Very cool, man. So you've had good experiences at the Schlotzsky's?
Oh, yeah. And
thank you so much.
I've had to ease on my cinnamon bun intake.
Yeah.
Because I was eating too many.
Yeah.
And my doctor was like, dude, you got to be careful with your sugars.
Really?
And I was like,
28 years old.
Dude, I have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
So it's my vice.
That's awesome, man. That made my day. Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I'm very happy that I'm meeting you, man. I know this won't be the last conversation, but let's get back to supply pay. Yeah. I think it's important. So you were telling me it started at the restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But how did you specifically get into supply pay? Yeah.
So it's a crazy story. So one day, someone from the Center of Innovation and Commercialization in Weslaco, which is right next to the town hall. It's the UTRGV.
Right behind it. Yeah.
Exactly. So Miss Persephone.
Nice building, by the way.
Yeah, they got a great location.
Yeah.
Miss Persephone from there saw me pitch a previous business that I was building. So my background is in computer science and math. So like that's kind of what I studied in school and what I ended up, choosing as a application for a skill set. So coding, writing, building software products, learning what the market needs, building integrations, applications, mobile, web, all types of fun stuff. So I built a reputation in the Valley for like building stuff because I had presented different projects, worked with a lot of community members from Brownsville all the way to Mission on building what they needed and maybe systems that would help with government. And Persephone saw my pitch. Unfortunately, I didn't win. I call it a blessing in disguise because the next morning I was kind of like licking my wounds, serving bowls at the restaurant, getting my mind off of technology and all the abstraction there. I was like, let's just make some hungry people happy, right? And I was doing that. Persephone,
it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah,
to be able to do that.
It's such a rewarding process. My wife really showed me the beauty of serving others.
I love that. Shout out everyone in the restaurant business because that runs deep. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that hits home because it's an act of humility, but also it really does. If you can find the beauty in it, it just gives you that extra drive to fight through the pain of your feet and your back and everything, and just be like, at the end of the day, it's rewarding. You know,
I jokingly say, for Lefa House, I am a professional foot masseuse, and that's my primary job title. So at the end of the day, I'm massaging my wife's feet, massaging my second shoulders, because it really is hard work.
It is,
and their patience is so incredible, and they genuinely love serving. I've learned that from her. She's a great leader. My wife is an incredible leader.
I love that, man. I can't wait to meet her one day. But in the Dairy Queen business, handing someone an ice cream cone or a child or somebody, dude, that's the best feeling. You just see their face light up, or turning over the blizzard. It's just like, wow, that's pretty cool. So sorry. So you wake up the next morning.
So
then
I'm at the restaurant. Persephone brings in a young man named Jorge Ayala. And so he had an extensive background in finance, being a head accountant of a large exporting co-op in Mexico, and then the CFO of an importing company. And he had built a business plan at his MBA for what was called Veggie Ventures. And we sat down, we had a great meeting. Anyone that Persephone brought in that said I need to talk to, I kind of just listen.
Nice.
And I just sit there, listen, and say, okay, how can I help? So initially, I was going to try to find someone else to help him build this idea. But the more he kept talking, the more I was curious. And he was talking about the interest rate environment in Mexico, how difficult it can be to build and sustain building a business in Mexico, the different problems in the U.S. side. And I knew he was very mannerful and very nice. That's the main thing I knew. And I don't like doing business with people unless I get that good feeling from them. So I said, what the heck? I'll build a small prototype. We built a small prototype, sent it to some potential clients. They all basically converted. They used the system in the way that I had designed it in the early days, which really shocked me. Because what I was essentially asking is I was asking the suppliers or the producers in Mexico to share with me the equivalent of IRS information. So in Mexico, it's called SAT, S-A-T, and in the United States, it's called the IRS. The equivalent would be like, imagine if somebody sent you an invite to a platform and you can get restaurant financing, but you had to give them your IRS login and password. You likely would not do that. That's a little, in the cybersecurity world, it's phishing, right? It feels like scammy. But we did that, and I was able to extract information from SAT to underwrite or to just check to see if these would be credit-worthy transactions. So we started to finance a little bit. Jorge had some money. We started to finance some invoices. Things were working. The business was making money, and we were like, okay. I told my wife, hey, babe, this is a crazy idea, but what if I did this full time? And I'll never forget the night we were in our little home, little makeshift gym, and she was working out. She was like, this sounds like a great idea. You should do it. And my wife, she's got a pretty good business acumen. So
I bet,
if she said yes, and I had permission, I had the blessing, basically, I went ahead and I said, okay, let's do this full time. And since then, our first year, we financed a little over $2.5 million in trade. We raised a pre-seed financing round from different institutional investment throughout the United States and Mexico. We raised like a $2.1 million pre-seed round. The team's grown to 15 members now. We launched SupplyLink, our orchestration platform. It's been non-stop fun. And I've learned so much about what it takes for state regulators in the U.S., Mexico, business owners and environments to really thrive in a cross-border sense, to be successful in supporting our partners in Mexico and supporting our partners in Canada. Really takes a lot of energy from so many different people that I'm grateful to help all of these entrepreneurs, because I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. It's tough. You deal with long days, bank uncertainty, instability. Like with restaurants, there's no chance you get financing in the first 3 years. Your business has to be open at least 3 years before a bank takes you seriously. Recently, there's other new technology innovations for financing and growth, but when it comes to being in Mexico, it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
And so we're in a great position to help any business engaged in cross-border transactions between Mexico, the US, and Canada, as well as Eastern Asia and West Africa. We can help orchestrate those orders, bring those stakeholders together in a more efficient way, and provide financing. We're basically just here to help people in a cross-border supply chain.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. There's definitely a need there. That's very interesting. I want you to meet my dad.
Cool.
So my dad is Robert Lozano. We have the same name. I'm not a junior, different middle names, whatever, complicated.
Nice.
So he's Robert Lozano. He's the head of the Regional Mobility Authority down in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always talking about, of course, the region and how to improve traffic flow, etc. But it's a very common conversation about the international trade and how, we need to protect that, but also grow it, and so it's something that I think has been very beneficial for our region. It's inspired a lot of economic growth. I don't know all the nuances, so I can't speak intelligently about it. But what I do know in general is that it's probably not talked about enough in the day-to-day lives within the Valley.
Oh, yeah.
But on how the Valley really plays an integral, and the Valley's Rio Grande Valley, right? South Texas. It plays an integral part in some of the economic stimulation in South Texas, and then also just that international trade that you're talking about.
It's massive. Last year alone, the Fardenosa Bridge crossed $215 million worth of cellary.
Yeah,
just
crazy.
Celery. Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money in celery.
Yes, exactly. William probably knows that word.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Do you speak Spanish or no?
I understand a fair bit. My mom grew up speaking it around the house, and all my tias and my mama Linda and everyone.
So you said you were from kind of in different parts, but where were you born?
I was born in Fort Carson, but I spent most of my...
Fort Carson? Sorry.
It's in Colorado.
Okay.
So I was born there because my dad was stationed there, but my mom and all of my mom's side of the family is from El Paso. So it's very similar to McAllen. It's just on the other side of Texas.
For sure. My grandparents were from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we would, take trips between Juarez, El Paso, kind of like I do in Progreso and Weslaco. So it's the same, very similar cultures, just one is tropical, the other one's a desert.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, the palm trees. That's always nice.
Yes.
Dude, fascinating stuff. So I wanted to know about SupplyPay. You told us a little bit about your restaurant, and you said it was a family business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into some live currency, right? So live currency, and you've already shared indirectly, but let's, if you're willing, let's try to get some live currency for our audience in your experiences and what you're dealing with. So live currency, I think I told you, but was birthed through our efforts to improve our team members' careers, our lives, our personal lives. So it's you're working for me. Hey man, I can only pay you $10 an hour, whatever, but I can offer you some live currency. I can tell you to do X. I can tell you to go to get your degree. I can try to fund your degree, further education.
Live currency. I like that.
Live currency, right? So it's that little extra, right? Mm-hmm. It's the intangible advice that you can offer somebody or value that you can offer somebody. So we turned it into a business podcast, a restaurant podcast. And I want to just explore a little bit, because you've already exposed yourself to so many different facets of the food and beverage industry, but what live currency would you say? You're a young guy, but let's start with, and I'm gonna put you on the spot here. So sorry, this is what it's about.
No, let's do it.
What have you learned from the restaurant dynamic of a local family business, and what are some of the challenges, and then what are some of the things that you really like about it being a family ran local restaurant?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I didn't grow up with was community, because I was a military brat. So we would move every couple of years, and I didn't really understand the profound power and strength that a community can have when they gather together. And especially in our region, people love to gather around food. It's exactly a huge celebration of life, of different cultures blending. So we're in an unusual circumstance in the sense that we serve Vietnamese cuisine, which is can be very... I have had so many customers come in that it'll normally be the wife that's like, babe, let's try this new spot. And I can see some of the guys are stubborn. They're standing there with their arms crossed, and they're like, no, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. And the wife will be like, come on. What do you want? Do you want the beef? Do you want the seafood? And I watch after we serve them and they have a new cuisine, they fall in love. And it becomes a gathering place where I've seen families that come all the way from Brownsville twice a month without missing a beat.
I love
just to share in the cuisine, because it's a delicious, nutritious meal. It's rice noodles, beef, pork, shrimp, tons of fresh vegetables and produce in the meal. It's different. And the people that have come to gather around there, it's fascinating because we'll post videos of cats that need homes or dogs that we find, right, that come to the restaurant and they'll come to the front. They'll just be walking through the parking lot, right? The cats
as content
in our neighborhood. And my wife will just take pictures and say, hey, this cat has been coming back and forth. Can anyone find it a home? And what you find is people from the restaurant will come on and say, hey, I know someone that takes care of cats. And so there's this really informal network that's built on social media from the restaurant that my wife does an excellent job in communicating, and you can really come together for all different types of causes and concerns.
That's
right?
cool,
and,
man.
In weird ways you would have never thought, like the person that you serve now is taking care of an animal that could have never had a home.
Sometimes your regulars, you after a year or 2 years or whatever, you figure out what they do, and you're like, oh my gosh, like you can help me in my life, not just dine at my restaurant. That's interesting. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just that community is what you can, if you do restaurants right, if you really serve and you have a really open heart and you're patient and you cook with love and all of these different things that make a really good experience, then the ways that it pays back you can never imagine, because it's as complex as human creativity is, because that the people involved have their own minds and their own spirits and their own interests and their own hearts. So that has been one of the funnest and most interesting parts of doing this. And I know that a lot of people in the kitchen, in the front of house, all experience it, right? And that's something that sticks with you for a long time. You build relationships and you build purpose-driven value together, and that's like,
I love that, man.
You can't buy that.
Yeah, you definitely can. So I want before we get to the other side of that conversation, I want to get my plug in real quick. But so F&P, it's food and people, but it's a little abstract table. I don't know if you can see it, but there's 3 chairs at the table, right?
Oh yeah.
And so that's our media, real estate, and restaurant operations, or our management team. So it's all about getting around the table, like you said, right? So food and people around the table.
Yep.
And that's just kind of our philosophy. And we're not great at telling that story because we're not necessarily marketers. We're operators at heart. But at the same time, we know very well the power of exactly what you just talked about, right? Whether it's in a franchise or in a local restaurant, I think that if you can tap into that and it's genuine, you will have a chance at making, a career out of restaurants. So that's kind of cool. Very cool. So I talked about the family dynamic. So the flip side that I was talking about, what are some of the challenges of family dynamics? Because it's not, like I could tell you 10 things, but I work with my brother-in-law. I work with my sister. They're my business partners. I've worked with my parents and continue to do so. My dad's my landlord, right? And so there's all kinds of different dynamics. I'm the CEO of his company, but yet he's my landlord. So there's already a dynamic there.
Yeah.
So I'm overseeing the strategy, but at the same time, I got to pay my bills to him. So the cash flow management, all of it. So I have my own dynamics within the family, our medium-sized enterprise or whatever you want to call it. But with a local restaurant, what are some of the family dynamics that you contended with? And how do y'all get past those?
The number of times a large kitchen argument has exploded in the front of the house is like a little quiet. It can happen. There's a lot of passion, and with family, the line between your life and your professional career are blurred.
Yeah. Well, let's add. You're absolutely right, and that's exactly right. I like the way William thinks. He makes very clear connections. I tend to word vomit because I'm like, I know I want to describe this, but you seem like you know how to describe things. It's like a talent. But anyways, I want to add some context before you answer the question fully. But so you are involved in the restaurant to an extent.
Oh,
right?
yes.
But so what have you done in the restaurant? Like literally.
Besides being historically, an owner, no. Like I have run front of house.
Oh yeah.
I've cooked with my suegra on the back.
Great.
Right. I've cleaned the dishes. There are many times we would have someone do dishes. I couldn't show up on time. It's part of shift
so you're
management.
filling all gaps. So
anything that needs to be done, I'm like, if I'm in town and I'm available, my wife picks up the phone and says, "Hey, can you come help me?"
So it's not like that's my husband. That sometimes you know the business.
These days, recently, I'm out of town more for supply pay. But historically, throughout the restaurant, I've done every single role.
Yeah.
I've fixed toilets.
Yeah.
I've replaced toilets on the weekends.
Yeah.
I've fixed, drain, what are they? The drain covers.
Sure. Yeah.
And pipes. We've replaced sink components.
So then your suegra is also...
She's the cook. She's the don. She's the donna. Yeah.
Okay.
La
Yeah.
patrona.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
She is so funny.
Yeah.
She has such a funny personality. She is very humorous, very crass, but in a really in a chef way.
Yeah.
And she is gentle where she needs to be, but she's also very firm.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, if a bowl sits in the window for longer than 15 seconds, you're gonna hear ding 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 ding.
I've never been to William's restaurant, his family restaurant, but I'm gonna guess that y'all have steady traffic, man.
Oh yeah.
This seems you're capturing a lot of that restaurant culture, but that's cool, man. I love it. So okay, so yeah, maybe some kitchen arguments,
big time.
How about you getting your opinions in there versus your suegra versus
I've learned to let the lady steer the ship.
Yeah, okay.
That's my role. I support. I'll do a lot of. We upgraded to Clover a while ago, so we were using a different merchant service system. I think it was Experian or Sphere was that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were using sticky notes
to
jot down orders, and then we would do 2 copies, one for front of house, one for back of house, and it was just a line of sticky notes. And that's what we were doing for the first 2 years. That was our ticket. But I knew from my background and being in data and computer science, I knew we were leaving so much on the table.
So are you problem solving all the time?
We have Clover implementation now. We have daily. My wife's life for reporting is so much easier. She can click 2 buttons and she has the full sales report.
Mm-hmm.
She can do the reconciliation for the batch. Everything has been much more streamlined. Kitchen display systems, they're happy now. There was initially a bit of friction, as there is in anything.
Yeah, of course.
A new system, the chef doesn't like it.
There's friction for sure.
Yeah, but now they love it. It makes their life easier. There's not someone running sticky notes. Just in the number of minutes per day we saved, because during the winter, we have a line that goes outside of the building. People want hot soup when it's on a cold day, especially in the valley, because we're warm weather people.
Their caldo, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's deep. You're attacking our culture.
I know, right? It's just a different caldo. Yeah.
It is.
One thing I say is our bumba way is like the Vietnamese menudo or pozole.
Yeah.
So it's very similar color. The texture of the meat is somewhat similar, but they relate it to caldo so much. Yes.
Well, that's cool, man. So I think you've already identified, and I think your answer, from what I'm understanding, is in a family business, take ego out of it and then put yourself in the best position.
For sure.
Funny, just a random fun fact, but one time I did a talk on leadership, and one of my biggest things was, as leaders, we don't have to steer the boat. We have to put ourselves in the best position that makes the boat go farther.
Yes.
And I think that's the best quality of a leader. And so that was my whole talk about is just find your place on the ship and go further as a team, Yeah. And it seems like you're doing that as well with your restaurant. Well, that's cool, man. Very cool. So what's the overall vision for SupplyPay, and what's next steps?
Yeah. Well, right now we have some shared office space in Brownsville and in Weslaco. We mostly work out of the restaurant in Weslaco. If you see a stack of computer nerds in the front row at the bar, that's me and my team.
Dude, you crack me up. You seem like a good guy. That's cool.
And then in the McAllen, the Economic Development Committee lets us use our conferencing space. So we haven't formally planted a specific location. We're looking at buying a different office space somewhere in the valley. We have shared office space with our investors in Austin.
Yeah.
But right now, for SupplyPay, the future is it's quite bright. We're in the process of closing some large credit facility with a big lending partner, and that would give us access to several $1 million more of capital to provide liquidity to these transactions, so we can start providing support to some of our customers outside of produce, people that are doing electronic components for Bosch, or they're doing jet components for Lear. The maquillas are having a hard time right now. It's a difficult time after COVID to adjust to the new supply chain. Tariffs are also changing a lot of things. So we are here to provide support to all of those businesses in Mexico, the United States, Canada, anywhere.
Yeah.
In any way that we can. So we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I want SupplyPay to stay in the Rio Grande Valley. We're kind of the first technology company to emerge out of the valley to be venture capital backed. So there hasn't been anyone that's raised a
Yeah.
round.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned venture capital and you reminded me. So tell us about the competition. You entered and you went to go pitch to Richard Branson.
Oh, yes. That was a crazy.
Yeah. I just thought it was a fun fact.
Well,
yeah.
so recently we won a pitch competition in Palm Springs. I pitched Steve Forbes. So Steve
nice.
Forbes, the founder of Lovesac, Sean was there. Some really high level entrepreneurs were there. We won first place, $15,000, and I got to like chat with them and connect in the green room, which was really fun because I mean I've read Forbes. Who hasn't read Forbes magazine? Exactly. That's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like you grow up reading and learning, and he's an interesting guy. And then of course, how I met our mutual friend Melissa, who's also an incredible person. I did a virtual accelerator program, which is like think of it like a workshop for entrepreneurs building in the tech space. And they give you a lot of resources. Mentors come in and talk. We were selected as one of the top performers.
Good for you, man.
And in that, they kind of invited us, all expenses paid, to Richard Branson's island.
Yeah.
I got to really cool story. And sorry, Richard, if you ever see this, we played chess and I was able to beat him in a game of chess.
That's big time. I hear he plays a lot of chess.
He does.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have
William
a good picture.
Steele living the life. Yeah.
I'll send it to you later. It's a crazy picture. But he's incredible. Again, another entrepreneur where like I grew up, have you ever seen his hot air balloon rides and adventures? And the story of how Virgin Airlines got started is also another crazy story of just like really great entrepreneurship and creativity. He's been someone, my family and I have seen on the news. Everyone's seen him.
Sure.
And I grew up really admiring him. So it was incredible to meet him. He's a very kind spirit. He really has best intentions for everyone around him.
Very cool.
That's what I gathered. And I got to meet some other really incredible entrepreneurs. John, the founder of Whole Foods, Eric and a few others.
So I'm glad. Thanks for sharing that, man. I'm glad I asked you that because the second part of the life currency question was what have you learned from entering supply pay and like what kind of pushed you to get into that. But I also want to pair that with and please talk about that. But I also want to pair that with supply pay took you to that opportunity as well, right? And so we're really big on, and it says it here, but I think success comes from also conversations and relationships and purposeful conversation and meaningful conversation. And I want to continue to try to contribute that to the restaurant space where we can have these meaningful conversations and continue to grow as people as well as grow our businesses, right? And so what did you learn in that time with just being around those type of entrepreneurs? Was there anything that was kind of distinct, or did you pick up on a vibe? Or let's not say super tangible, but something that's a little bit more that you would have only experienced if you were being around them?
Well, there's two seasoned restaurant tours that I met there, and their partners as well, that really left a mark on me. One is Mark Bailey. He's the founder of the original Pancake House.
Okay.
And then Christopher Oslam. And both of them are on the board of the Texas Restaurant Association. They've had tons of experience investing into Texas restaurateurs and owners. They carry themselves with such humility and are so kind and open-minded. For me, meeting all those people, there was one common thread that everyone genuinely wants to help others just for the sake of helping others.
That's awesome.
And I've been in other different business environments. Go to Wall Street, you go to all the stereotypical cutthroat business environments. It was just different. There were people there that were also spiritually curious, like my friend Brett, who has an incredible entrepreneurial experience. Second company, Bazaar Voice, was voted like best company to work at in Austin. You talk about extraordinary leadership. All of them are extraordinary leaders.
Very
and
cool.
They lead with love first. And that's difficult. It's difficult to lead with love. It's difficult to be there for all of your team members in the best way, to lead with tough love on occasion and to lead with gentle love on occasion. And for me, that was the spirit of most of the trip, was just everyone had a lot of gratitude and love in their hearts. And it showed me that there are people operating at the highest levels of different industries that do make it successfully doing and behaving that way.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a promise that the way that I've been leading is the right way to lead in life.
Exactly.
Because there are others that have paved the way with the same intentionality.
Yeah, that's very fascinating to me, and frankly, it gives me chills. And the reason it gives me chills is because sometimes I have this internal battle as well, where I'm like, man, like I see so much progress or growth, and it's being accomplished because it's just more in a very direct and just kind of brash way, and just more. And I struggle with that.
It's a
But
balance.
but I'm also very logical, and I try to be very purpose driven. So I try to take things much more. And I like to quote from Simon Sinek. I think he posted it a couple days ago or something, but he talked about it doesn't matter how far technology is advancing or how much evolution is happening. Like, we can never forget about the human element, right? And so I butchered it, right? But it's along those lines, and I reposted it because that captured exactly how I'm feeling right now. Is we've implemented so much technology in our company, even though we just run restaurants. We're growing at a healthy clip. But I want to do it with the people that have been with me all along,
Yes.
And so I just have conversations with, hey man, this is what's transpiring. This is what's going on. I really would like for you to challenge yourself more and grow. And so it's that internal conflict, but you saying that kind of just, again, and I know I'm projecting, but it reassures that kind of internal battle that we have with ourselves, because I'm also not trying to just be, successful. No, I really am. I want to reach as many people as we can in the food and beverage industry. That's why our company is F&P, Food and People. And I want to create a positive environment and positive work culture where we can offer a purpose-driven culture, because in the QSR space, a lot of it becomes monotonous, and a lot of it they don't get. And I'm not saying this is for everyone, right? But there's this stigma that QSR operators, quick service restaurant, don't care about their employees, and that is the furthest from the truth. I've met a lot of great people, and I myself am very invested in my employees' lives, careers, livelihoods, and we understand we're stepping stones for a lot of people. Like, our job it's not a full career. So I've got to make sure
it's vital to provide. There's so many people that learn to serve at QSRs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that's so important for the collective economy. It's important for the health of society. It's an important job.
Yeah, appreciate you acknowledging that, because it really is. And so we need to make sure that our company culture is strong, and I need to make sure as a leader that I'm making sure that all the way down to the restaurant level, that whether they're with us for 2 months or 2 years or a career, that they feel that purpose-driven culture, right? And I would be greatly remiss if I and I know I don't get it perfect every time, but even in the restaurant space. So that's cool, man. That's a great connection. What an experience. William, I know this won't be the last time we chat, man. I really look forward to meeting you more. I'm going to go visit the restaurant.
Yes.
And thank you for your support. Thank you for coming on here. It means a lot, man. It really does. And I'll be rooting for you. We're also in the banking world. So if you ever want to chat about banking, I don't mean to, I'm like, do I do plugins or not? I'm like, they're not plugins, or I'm just chatting. I'm just telling you that. Yeah. So I'm on an advisory board for a bank. We're affiliated with a local bank. I can tell you more about that offline, but I've learned so much from them. I've learned so much from this conversation just with you. And it seems like you're a really carefree but genuine guy, and a wholesome guy. And so I wish you nothing but the best, man.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure to learn and to be a part of the podcast.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, of course.
Cool, dude.
Nice.
Bob Lozano, CEO of F&P Group, and I'm constantly fascinated by the ways people create value and lasting enterprises. We explore the journeys, the decisions, and the driving forces behind successful businesses with multiple locations. Welcome to Live Currency,